Point Reyes National Seashore has become my go-to photography location since I moved to San Francisco. There's a huge diversity of landscapes and wildlife here, and it's only about an hour outside the city. It's the place that got me into wildlife photography and where most of the recent photos on my Instagram come from. I've created a few short photography guide videos, so I figured I would try my hand at some longer ones. So I'm going to take you with me for a day out at Point Reyes and show you all my favorite spots, so you can go out and take some great photos too. My first stop was at Pierce Point Ranch, hoping to see some of the tool elk that roam around the area. Alright, so arrived at the first location, which is Pierce Point Ranch. This is usually a good place to see some elk. I saw some on the drive in, so hopefully there's some out and about today. And it's also just a nice hike for landscapes along the coast all the way down this peninsula here. So arriving at the ranch, you'll see all the historic buildings that date back to the 1800s from when this ranch was still in use. It was nice and sunny this day, but when it's foggy, you can get some really moody atmosphere, perfect for some black and white shots. There's about a 5-mile hiking trail up to Malloy's Point, and if you're lucky, you might see some wildlife along the way, like elk or even coyotes. Something has been digging these pits here. Not sure what. They're all over the trail. While you're searching for wildlife, you'll also see some stunning landscapes along the trail. Again, even on a foggier day, you can still get some really cool shots. I ran into a couple back there that said that there was some elk about half a mile down the trail here, so crossing my fingers. About a mile into the hike, the path takes a right turn to reveal an awesome cliffside landscape. Definitely worth your time to stop and take some pictures. So the wind on this day was not ideal for audio recording, so I'll have to do some voiceovers. What I was saying here is that a half mile, and therefore the elk, should be just over the top of this hill. So I continued along the trail and up the hill. And I finally spotted some elk. They were definitely a lot more than a half mile away, but I found them. I made my way over to the elk and came up on this group of female elk, which, fun fact, are called cows. This group was not too interested in portraits and seemed a bit skittish, so instead of bugging them, I decided to move on. I'm here to capture nature, not to disturb it. I moved up the hill to where the other group was sitting, and they didn't seem to mind at all that I was there, even as I slowly got closer. There were a couple beautiful horned bulls in this group, which are always my favorite to photograph. I love combining landscape and wildlife photography together, and this is really the perfect place to do that. After snapping some photos of that group, I went up just a bit more on the path to see if there were any more elk over the hill, and sure enough, right along the path there was a group of bulls grazing with another great backdrop. It's windy up here, but looks like this is a good spot for lunch as any. Got the elk right behind me. I'm gonna come and try to steal my sandwich, then we'll hike back. I haven't hiked the full 10-mile back and forth to the tip of the peninsula yet, but I've made it up to the small pond in the middle before, which is where the elk tend to hang out the most, according to some of the other hikers I've run into. Alright, that ended up being a pretty long hike. So next I'm going to go head down Sir Francis Drake Boulevard, a couple stops over there on the way to the Lighthouse. So when I'm driving along the roads here, I tend to see a lot of hawks perched up on the fence posts, just waiting to have their photo taken. Alright, pulling up to the first stop here, which is the Cypress tree tunnel. You might have seen this on Instagram. It's a pretty Instagrammable location. It's pretty cool, just a tunnel of trees with that old radio station at the end. So, right here, go visit. They planted these trees and built this radio station in about 1930, and they actually still regularly broadcast radio from here, mostly Morse code for ships at sea. On Saturdays, the radio station is open to the public and you can actually go inside and take a tour. They still use a lot of the original World War II era equipment, and you can hear their Morse code broadcasts as you walk around.
That kind of stuff. And television, NBC was spun off of actually RCA. So this is, yeah.
After the radio station, I got back on the road to head down to Drake's Beach. This beach is a great place to stop and rest, and in the winter it's covered in baby seals. I was hoping I could find some seals today, and as I was taking my video clips, people saw my camera and started coming up to me to tell me that there was a bunch of seals about a half mile down the beach to take pictures of. Obviously, I had to go investigate, and so I headed out on yet another half mile. After braving through some painful sandstorms, I made it to the seals. These elephant seals are gigantic. It's hard to capture their scale on video. They also make some interesting noises. They even had a couple pups with them, which are always adorable. Well, I'd say that walk was worth it, so I gritted my teeth and shielded my eyes as I walked back through another sand hurricane back to the car. Next, I was making my way down to the Point Reyes Lighthouse, and the drive there is actually one of my favorite parts of these trips. It's a beautiful road over on the way to the lighthouse. I've actually gotten some of my best shots here just on the side of this road, just pulling over when I see some elk or a coyote or cows, or I saw a bobcat once, was not able to get a picture of him, he was too quick. But you never know what you'll see on the side of the road here, so definitely keep your eyes peeled as you go around. This road is seriously a gold mine for wildlife photography. I've seen all kinds of animals while I'm driving. This baby coyote was one of my favorite recent shots. Alright, I just pulled over on the side of the road because I saw there's some elk just hanging out with the cows over here. Let's see if I can get some pictures of those. My first time to Point Reyes was actually my first time ever doing wildlife photography, and my beginner's luck landed me my current favorite photo I've ever taken, right on the side of this road here. I didn't even plan on shooting wildlife that day. I had just decided to come up on a day off from work and try to get some landscape shots, but after that first time, I've been hooked on wildlife photography ever since. There's another herd of elk right on the side of the road here. Unfortunately, I can't pull over and take pictures because of the no pullover zone, but pretty cool. Sunlight in the background. Continuing along the road some more, after a couple stops, I made my way to the lighthouse. So, I'm at the lighthouse and you could hear the wind whistling over the mountains. It tends to get really, really windy up here. So definitely be prepared to bring a jacket. And yeah, it was seriously windy this day. Everyone was blowing around and I almost lost my hat a few times. Luckily, it was nice and sunny though. I've been here on foggy days and it's not quite as pleasant, but still pretty. From the parking lot, there's a short walk up to the lighthouse, again with stunning landscapes everywhere you look. At the top, there's a visitor center with a small gift shop, and right behind that is the lighthouse. 313 stairs down, and it's a bit of a hike back up, so be prepared. The lighthouse is only open till 4, so I wasn't able to go down on this day, but luckily I had some footage from when I went down with my friend Max a few weeks ago on a very, very foggy day. Inside the lighthouse is a park worker who will tell you all about the history of the lighthouse, which has been there since 1870.
But with this, they were starting to clean this up. He said, let's take out any extra stuff we had.
As sun started to set, I had just a bit more time to get to my final stop on my tour. Alright, last stop of the day is at Chimy Point trailhead. This is my personal favorite hike at Point Reyes. You tend to see some mule deer, I've seen some gophers, some seals, all kinds of stuff out here. So, let's go. So as soon as I started walking, I heard some of the strange sounds of the elephant seals echoing from down by the beach and decided to see if I could spot some. Luckily for me, there's an overlook trail specifically for this, but unluckily I didn't see a single seal as I looked out, just a lot of seal-looking rocks. But I didn't give up yet. There's still another path that you can take down to one of the docks where I've seen seals hanging out before. I walked my way down, hearing some seals along the way, and still no seals here either. But I wasn't going to give up that easily and headed up back on the path over to the other dock across the way. Walking over, I saw this group of California quails, which you'll see pretty often all around the area. I'm a big fan of these little guys. I've even got this cool hat from the Drake's Beach gift shop to prove it. On the way over, I passed by this group of buildings with a big house in the center. I always think it would be super cool to stay the night here. I made my way down to the lifeboat station, hoping to finally find some seals here, and
Look at these little guys here.
baby seals, always worth the hike.
Down at the historic lifeboat house, there's usually some seals hanging out here. They also have a webcam where you can see if there's any seals live on YouTube. I tried to check, but there's no service out here. Hey there. Oh. Wow. I'm getting pretty low on sunlight here, so I'm gonna try to speed up this hike.
And I really was. With about 15 minutes left until sunset, I made my way down the path to see some of my favorite views at Point Reyes. The cliffside views here are really amazing. I tend to come here at sunset, and it makes for some awesome photos with the dramatic lighting.
Some people doing, looks like a wedding shoot up there on the edge of this cliff.
See, the other photographers also agree that this is a great spot. Landscapes, wildlife, portraits, selfies, Point Reyes can do it all. To run up here, so I'm a little out of breath, but the view is also breathtaking. And as the sun began to set, I trekked onwards towards the end of the trail. Up in this area, I tend to see a lot of deer, and have also seen some coyotes, gophers, and of course lots of birds. Today, I saw a few deer grazing as the last minutes of sunlight passed. At the end of the trail, there's a couple of benches to sit on and look out to the ocean. On a clear day, you can see the Farallon Islands all the way out to the west. As darkness approached, it was time to end my day at Point Reyes while I could still see my way back.
At the end of the hike, and the sun has gone down. It's a bit darker than it looks on camera in real life. Gonna get back there quick.
I hiked back, spotting some deer silhouettes in the twilight. Also saw that house again, still super jealous of whoever gets to stay there. Invite me over sometime. Alright, made it back. I had to sprint a little bit to get back here with some visibility left. But pretty successful day. Saw a lot of different animals. The sun was beautiful, great weather. So another beautiful day at Point Reyes. So there's my photographer's guide to Point Reyes. If you live nearby, I hope this inspires you to take the trip over because it's totally worth it. If you're somewhere far away, take this as your sign to dust off that old camera and get out shooting wherever you are. If you made it this far, let me know where you'd like to see me make a guide of next, or if you have any other video suggestions related to photography or photography gear. So leave a comment and subscribe to see what I've got coming up next.